The celestial gate of vast heaven naturally also got news from outside. The celestial gate of vast heaven naturally also got news from outside. Now, the undercurrent was rising in the heavenly mandate realm, and all the information was very sensitive. What happened to the heavenly mandate dynasty and Brahma's pure sky today were significant events that might affect the political geography of the heavenly mandate realm, so they could not ignore it. On the misty mountain peak, Futian sat there, with many people around him. Gu Donglu also came to his side. "Brother," Gu Donglu walked to Futian and said, "Third brother, you must have heard about the thing of Brahma's pure sky, right? Just now, Brahma's pure sky sent someone to invite you to go there," Gu Donglu said. Futian looked at Gu Donglu and asked, "Brother, has Lord Jiang said why Brahma's pure sky did this?" Before, the Brahma's pure sky invited the heavenly mandate dynasty, and now he was invited too. Gu Donglu shook his head and said, "Lord Jiang said that since the Empress established the Brahma's pure sky, there has been no precedent for a saintess to seek marriage. This time, no one knows the reason, and the only possible explanation is that the Empress is worried about the big change in heavenly mandate realm and wants to seek an alliance through marriage to solidify Brahma's pure sky's position in the heavenly mandate realm. Maybe they want to survive in the changing heavenly mandate realm." Futian frowned slightly. Every move of the top forces now touched people's hearts. Brahma's pure sky's abnormal behavior was very confusing. "I feel like it's for you." At this time, a voice came from beside him. Futian turned his eyes and saw Xia Qingyuan looking toward him. "Me?" Futian asked. Before, the heavenly mandate dynasty showed their attitude in seeking marriage, but the Brahma's pure sky ignored it. Later, you and Qin he spent a lot of time together. Perhaps the first maiden has fallen in love with you and wants to find an excuse to marry. They want to see what you think," Xia Qingyuan said coldly. Futian looked at her with a strange look in his eyes. Xia Qingyuan saw him staring at her and asked, "What were you looking at?" "Your Highness may be right," Futian whispered. Xia Qingyuan blinked and looked at him. Extremely shameless. People next to them were also stunned. This guy was really cheeky. However, Futian was thinking of something else. One couldn't say that Qin he had fallen in love with him. They just spent a short time together. At best she had begun to like him. It was too rash to say love. After all, they had all reached the saint plane after many years of cultivation, and they were no longer in adolescence. Their states of mind wouldn't change easily, and it was not so easy to like someone. However, he still felt that there was something behind it. For example, after that battle of Violet Heavenly Palace, although he defeated Zhang Yuan, he was not the most eye-catching person in the Heavenly Mandate realm. The Crown Prince of Heavenly Mandate Dynasty had also been there. Why did Qin he treat him differently? Qin he made contact with him, and he still didn't know the reason. He had stayed in the same palace with her. If this was Qin he's style of doing things, then when Wang Yanbing and Yi Tianyu visited, why had she received them outside the palace? This meant that maybe it was not Qin he's original intention. So what was the purpose of Qin he getting in contact with him? Xia Qingyuan indeed made him wonder if this incident would be related to him again. There was no logic in this guess. It was a very nuanced intuition. He faintly felt that things around the Brahma's pure sky were like mist. "Third brother, do you plan to go this time?" Futian asked Gu Donglu. "Let's go to the Colloquy Palace first," Gu Donglu said. Futian nodded, and they walked in one direction. When they came to the Colloquy Palace, many warriors of the Celestial Gate were already here. 2 elders of the Jiang clan and Hua clan were in charge of this matter. The elder of the Hua clan fell his gaze on Gu Donglu and Futian. He said, "Yi, has Donglu already told you?" "Yes," Futian nodded and replied. This time, the Brahma's pure sky sent an invitation. "We were hoping that Donglu could marry the saintess of Brahma's pure sky, or marry a goddess in the future, but Donglu said he had a wife, so we gave up the idea. Besides, he'd better not go out now," the elder of Hua clan said. Now, Gu Donglio's identity was very sensitive, and he was worried that he would be assassinated. Although the probability was very low, they should always be careful. The saintess of Brahma's pure sky, Qin He, is known to have an unusual relationship with Yi. Before, You also live together in one palace. Now, the Brahma's pure sky is probably choosing a spiritual partner for her. What do you think of Qin He? The elder of Hua clan continued. If the relationship between Yi Futian and Qin He could be taken a step further, it would definitely be beneficial. Yi Futian was a little speechless. He could understand the idea of the celestial gate. If he could be paired with Qin He, it would be of great benefit for the celestial gate. However, it would be impossible to be with Qin He. Sir, Qin He and I are just friends. It's not what you might have thought, Yi Futian said. The elder nodded slightly and said, but even so, we have to do something. In any case, Qin He cannot be with Tianyu. Everyone understood this. If the crown prince of Heavenly Mandate dynasty married the first maiden of Brahma's pure sky, it would be a disaster for the celestial gate of vast heaven. Therefore, this situation could never happen. Gu Donglu can't go this time, but Jiang Taichu, Hua Qingyun, and Yi, you have to take the trip, the elder of Jiang clan said at this time. Even if Yi Futian could not be with Qin He, they had to stop Yi Tianyu. Therefore, they must take a trip to the Brahma's pure sky. Okay, Yi Futian nodded slightly and agreed without hesitation. He also wanted to see what the Brahma's pure sky's intention was and whether or not it was related to him as he had intuitively felt. Thank you all for your effort, he said. They all nodded, and the elder said, this matter should not be delayed. You should convene people and depart as soon as possible. You can go back and get ready now. Aye, they answered. All of them exited the colloquy palace and went back to prepare. After a while, from above the celestial gate of vast heaven, a beam of celestial light rushed straight into the sky, and a group of people rose up and headed into the distance. Their destination was the Brahma's pure sky. Brahma's pure sky was located in the northern part of the heavenly mandate realm, far from the celestial gate of vast heaven. One would even pass the territory of the heavenly mandate dynasty going between two places. But obviously, those from the celestial gate of vast heaven would avoid people of the heavenly mandate dynasty. Otherwise, who knew what would happen? Now, there were powerful warriors everywhere in the Brahma Sky City. This city was the main city of Brahma's Pure Sky District, which was under the direct control of Brahma's Pure Sky. What happened in the city could hardly be hidden from them. What kind of figure was the Brahma's Pure Sky Empress? Her mind could connect with the 3,000 realms. The main city under the eyes of Brahma Sky City was within the coverage of her mind. No one ever had the thought about what to do here, and no one could lie to the Empress's ears. Therefore, in this main city, everyone must obey the rules of Brahma's pure sky. Recently, top figures from all sides of the heavenly mandate realm had come here. During this time, Brahma Sky City was bustling. At this moment, in a restaurant in Brahma Sky City, a group of unusual people had come and rented the whole restaurant. Others could only watch from a distance, showing their admiration. This group of people all had superb temperaments. They sat in the restaurant and chatted. Cultivators standing around them in different locations were all Renhuang level. They hid in different corners and closely supervised anything happening in this restaurant. The heavenly mandate dynasty crown prince Yi Tianyu was in this restaurant. His companions were his brothers. They are from the divine palace. People in the distance looked at them and talked with each other, excited. Now that the information about Yi Tianyu's cultivation had been made public, it was no longer a secret where these people came from. They all came from other supreme realms, and they were all extraordinary figures. In that direction, a melody of the ancient zither came. It had strong penetrating power and flew into people's ears, making them fully enter the mood of the zither music, which was an extremely beautiful scene. The restaurant was very quiet at this moment. People tasted the wine and listened to the tunes, quite relaxed and content. The man who played the zither was handsome. He had an outstanding bearing. When he played the zither with two hands, he had an indescribable chic aura about him. The melody of the zither gradually shifted from soothing to intense, as if depicting a scene on the battlefield where there were countless metallic weapons and iron horses, and soldiers who had the spirit to conquer thousands of miles of sky. His potent spirit rushed into the sky as if he wanted to compete with heaven to see who was taller. The melody made people in the distance feel their blood boiling, agitated. He had not released his music magic yet, but his performance alone still had such a strong influence. For a long time, the music became peaceful again until it stopped. The music ended, and everyone in the restaurant seemed to wake up from the enchantment. One of them laughed and said, "Good. Brother, your mastery of music has gotten the pith of Uncle Master's skills. Few people in the divine palace can compare with you." A person smiled and praised. Everyone nodded. "No wonder you are the heir of the divine music palace. Among my contemporaries in the heavenly mandate realm, no one is comparable to you," Etianyu also commented. The young man looked calm and didn't show emotions. He put his hands down, looked up at Etianyu, said, "However, someone has unraveled my divine sound skill." "Is the man who cracked the divine sound skill proficient in music?" a young man asked. Etianyu shook his head. "The man has excellent talent, but he has not shown any musical accomplishments before. The reason why he could crack the divine sound skill was because of his restraint in cultivation methods. The celestial gate of vast heaven has extraordinary mystical ways. If you had been present, it had not been cracked. A person ignorant of music could break the divine sound skill. He indeed has something unusual. I never expected that there would be someone in the heavenly mandate realm who could compete with you, elder brother. He must be extremely extraordinary," the young man continued. There were direct disciples and ordinary disciples of two types in the divine palace. These people were all direct disciples of the divine palace, whose names could be engraved on the stele of divine palace disciples, which recorded these disciples' life histories. Every one of them must be super talented. Otherwise, they would be demoted to ordinary disciples. And these people were all direct disciples. Among these direct disciples, Etianyu was also an outstanding one, standing at the top of the ranks. Not many people could compare with him. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. In Brahma Sky City, more and more warriors had arrived. In Brahma Sky City, more and more warriors had arrived. Futian and his companions from the celestial gate of vast heaven had also reached and found a place to stay in Brahma Sky City. This time, except for Gu Donglu, the talented figures of the young generation in the celestial gate of vast heaven were almost all here. Jiang Taichu of the Jiang clan, Hua Qingyun of the Hua clan, and Wang Yanbing of the Wang, these three most prestigious warriors of the celestial gate of vast heaven, set foot in Brahma Sky City. In addition to them, there was also Yi Futian, Yi Wuchen, and others. Yu Xing was cultivating in the Dragon God clan of the demon realm, so he couldn't come with them. However, this time, there were also many top figures from the demon realm. The heavenly mandate realm would change, so now both humans and demon beasts had allowed the entrance of the other side and started to communicate with each other. Last time, human cultivators had entered the origin mountains of the demon realm, and since then, the demon cultivators of the top forces also had set foot in the human cultivation world from time to time. They must ascertain what level of strength human cultivators of the heavenly mandate realm had. After Yi Futian arrived, warriors of the Dragon God clan came to visit. Yi Futian met them in person, and he also wanted to know how Yu Sheng's cultivation was going in the Dragon God clan. "Yi Futian is here to salute you, sir," he said. The head of the Dragon God clan was a dragon emperor with very unusual temperament. When he stood there, he looked tall and majestic. Next to him was the most talented figure of this generation in the Dragon God clan, Long Chen. Long Chen was an overbearing divine dragon of Nirvana Plane, and he was a mutant of the Royal Purple Gold Dragon clan, the direct bloodline of the Dragon God clan. This kind of mutant was extremely rare in the Dragon God clan, and only one case could appear every generation. Besides, a new mutant would show up only after the mutant of the previous generation passed away. This situation was extremely weird, and some people speculated that the mutation was too powerful and was envied by heaven, so only one case would be allowed to happen every generation. Long Chen was a mutant that had shown up many years. He didn't go to the Violet Heavenly Palace last time, but this time, he officially came into the public eye and represented the Dragon God clan. Many years ago, the dragon god royal family was called the Purple Gold Dragon Royal Family, but later, a top figure of the dragon god clan mutated due to his cultivation. Mutation happened in the dragon god royal family, and that mutated figure vanquished all warriors of the dragon god clan in his peak period and defeated the old king. Soon, he was conferred as the new king of the dragon god clan. This mutation was an evolution of bloodline. Since then, whenever a new mutant showed up in the Dragon Divine clan, he would be considered as the successor of the king of Dragon God clan, and such a mutant was called the Purple Blood Divine Dragon in the Dragon God clan. Long Chen was such a purple blood divine dragon. One could imagine how prestigious he was. Not long ago, the Dragon God clan brought back a human cultivator who woke up the demon dragon. He had been silent for many years and caused the demon dragon to roar so loudly that the sky trembled, and the dragon abyss shook. Since then, the demon dragon began to advise the human in cultivation. In this regard, warriors of the Dragon God clan speculated that the demon dragon might have encountered a very rare talent of demonic laws who was beyond his expectations, causing such a strong response. Yu Xing, the rising star in the violet heavenly palace, was likely to be underestimated. At that time, Futian claimed that Yu Xing's strength was unparalleled, but all the people present at that time were top figures in the heavenly mandate realm. Although they acknowledged the power of Yu Xing, no one really thought that Yu Xing's power was invincible. The roar of the demon dragon shook the Dragon God clan. Everything that happened in the heavenly mandate realm recently gave the Dragon God clan the hunch that the future would change. After Long Chen completed his cultivation, he also officially stepped out of the Dragon God clan and came to the human cultivation world. At this time, Long Chen was looking at Futian and Jiang Taichu. He had heard of Jiang Taichu when he was in the Dragon God clan a long time ago, but Futian had only gained fame recently and was a bit hit in the heavenly mandate realm now. This human cultivator had been given very high praise, and many people even thought that he would become one of the giants in the heavenly mandate realm if he didn't die. "You're welcome." Beside him, the Dragon Emperor of the Dragon God clan said to Futian, "I am here today to tell you news about Yu Xing. He is now cultivating in the Dragon Abyss, the ancestral land of the Dragon God clan, and is being guided by a big figure of our Dragon God clan. You don't need to worry about him." "Yes." Futian nodded and said, "Since the Dragon God clan took him there in person, I have nothing to worry about." He let Yu Xing go because he knew that as long as the Dragon God clan had the intention to help, Yu Xing, with his domineering skills, would definitely attract their attention. Now the Dragon Emperor of the Dragon God clan came here in person to inform him, which meant the Dragon God clan warrior who was teaching Yu Xing must be an important person with special status in the Dragon God clan. However, warriors of the Dragon God clan would not tell Futian that the demon dragon had committed crimes and was imprisoned in the forbidden area of the Dragon God clan. He had not been executed because the Dragon God clan showed mercy, and so far, he was still a taboo to society. He could only be kept imprisoned in the Dragon Abyss, and perhaps he would be there forever. "This is Long Chen of our Dragon God clan," the Dragon Emperor introduced. Jiang Taichu and Hua Qingyun had been guessing the identity of the young man, but they were still slightly shocked when they heard his name. Was this the legendary Purple Blood royal family successor? It had been hundreds of years since the death of that Purple Blood Dragon Emperor. The Purple Blood royal family was the hereditary royal family of the Dragon God clan. They were above all other dragons of the Dragon God clan and were born to be kings. Wang Yanbing delivered his voice to Futian to explain the origin of the Purple Blood royal family. Futian also felt slightly surprised. Now, the top figures that had hidden in the heavenly mandate realm were all coming out. "I am Futian," Futian said, slightly cupping his hands toward Long Yen. "I have heard about you for a long time," Long Chen said, slightly bowing his head to Futian. Long Chen looked tall and extremely burly. Although he had been in the Dragon God clan, he still knew something about the changes in the heavenly mandate realm, especially with what had happened in the Origin Mountains. If the head had not dissuaded him for fear that something in the Origin Mountains might affect his safety, he would have been there. For the Dragon God clan, the safety of Long Chen was the first priority. He owned the rare generational inheritance and was born to be the Dragon King, so the Dragon God clan didn't dare to take it lightly. In the demon realm, the status of Long Chen and Jun of the Demon Sky Court was basically similar to the status of Crown Prince Yi Tianyu of the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty and Gu Donglu of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven. I am flattered, Yi Futian replied. With regard to Plane, Long Chen was of Nirvana Saint Plane, and Yi Futian should address him as an elder. Let's go in and sit down, a warrior of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven suggested. No need. We just came here to tell you news about Yu Sheng, and we should leave now, the Dragon Emperor of the Dragon God clan said and then bid farewell. Warriors of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven did not ask them to stay and saw them out. The Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven was willing to make friends with the Dragon God clan, but now the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven was at the center of the storm, so the Dragon God clan might not be glad to be directly involved in it. They were willing to teach Yu Sheng, but it was completely different from the issue with the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven, and Yi Futian knew this clearly. What was more, at that time, in the Origin Mountains, Gu Tianxing wanted to create a new king for the demon realm. But perhaps Long Chen was not convinced, so they could even be potential rivals. Brahma's Pure Sky requests to visit. Someone came to report after Long Chen left, which made the people of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven quite surprised. Please let them in, warriors of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven said. Soon, a group of gorgeous figures came in. This time, the visitors from the Brahma's Pure Sky were all young and beautiful ladies, with no Renhuang figures. And the person who led the group was Genie Saintess of Brahma's Pure Sky, whom Yi Futian had seen before. Genie is here to salute elders of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven. The Genie Saintess slightly bowed and said, What brings Saintess here today? Asked a Renhuang figure of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven. Genie came to inform elders that after 7 days, the Brahma's Pure Sky Saintess Qin he will lead all saintesses to set up the Xiantian Matrix in the Xiantian Pavilion of Brahma Sky City and welcome a challenge from warriors of the Heavenly Mandate Realm, Genie said. People of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven showed surprise. Would the Brahma's Pure Sky's first maiden Qin he show up in person? And this time, she would directly test all cultivators' strengths. Qin he would lead all the saintesses of the Brahma's Pure Sky to arrange a battle matrix. Okay, I see, the Renhuang of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven said, nodding slightly. Saintess Genie looked up toward them, her eyes fixed on Yi Futian. She said softly, Mr. Yi must go this time. Yi Futian froze, and his eyes revealed a strange look. Everyone turned around and looked at him. In fact, Saintess Genie did not need to remind him because he would have gone anyway, but her special request sounded very meaningful. You can rest assured that I will be there, Yi Futian said and nodded. Thank you. Then I can go back and report my task, Genie said and nodded with a smile, then she requested to leave and went away. After she left, everyone looked at Yi Futian. It seems you felt right, Xia Qingyuan said. Apparently, she was referring to what they talked about last time. This event was probably because of Yi Futian. Now, the Saintess Genie of Brahma's Pure Sky requested Yi Futian in person. Obviously, there must be a deeper meaning. Yi Futian looked at Xia Qingyuan and said, although it feels right, it is not as simple as you think. Now, he had no idea what was hidden behind this thing. He felt as though he were in a mist. If it was understood on the surface, this time, the Brahma's Pure Sky might want to choose a spiritual partner for Qin He. Qin He admired Yi Futian, but in fact, was it really so? Maybe not. Soon, top forces had all received the invitation from the saintesses of Brahma's Pure Sky. Suddenly, countless people in Brahma Sky City were discussing this matter. This time, the Saintess Qin He of Brahma's Pure Sky personally led cultivators of Brahma's Pure Sky to challenge cultivators of all forces from the Heavenly Mandate Realm. If so, everyone could then see what levels those young cultivators of the top forces were at. Since Qin He, the Saintess of Brahma's Pure Sky, would be the one to lead people to arrange the Xiantian Matrix, it was obviously impossible for one single person to enter and challenge them. Qin He, as the first maiden, was prominent and extremely powerful. If she was in charge of the Matrix, who could break it? This time, obviously, She meant to test the overall strength of young generations of the top forces. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. After the news spread, all the warriors in the Brahma Sky City headed toward the same place, Futian Pavilion. After the news spread, all the warriors in the Brahma Sky City headed toward the same place, Futian Pavilion. Futian Pavilion was the cultivation place of goddess Futian, one of the 9 sky goddesses of Brahma's pure sky in the Brahma Sky City. The Futian goddess of the first generation was conferred with the time here, and since then, Futian Pavilion had also become the place where Futian goddess convened disciples. Futian Pavilion was located in the core of Brahma Sky City, with a staircase tens of thousands of feet long that stretched into the sky. Above the stairs of Futian Pavilion, one could see the endless area of Brahma Sky City with one glance. At this time, many restaurants below the Futian Pavilion were full. Numerous people had arrived beforehand and made the place extremely busy. Everyone had chosen their seat and waited to see this battle in Brahma Sky City. It was a sensation here in Brahma Sky City. Here, in a restaurant with a good view, people who occupied the top floor were all important people. They raised their eyes and looked at the Futian Pavilion towering into the distance where figures of the Brahma's pure sky goddesses could be roughly seen. They seemed to have just arrived. Although they lived in the Brahma Sky City, it was usually almost impossible to see warriors of the Brahma's pure sky fighting with others. In this city, who dared to fight against Brahma's pure sky? The first goddess of Brahma's pure sky, Chinhi, was well known in the heavenly mandate realm for her stunning beauty, but no one dared to ignore her strength. Now she would be in charge of the battle. How graceful her demeanor would be! Moreover, the people she would confront were also top warriors of the heavenly mandate realm. Many people were even wondering if the battle had been arranged by the Empress or Chinhi herself. No one knew the answer. Maybe both. If Chinhi wanted to choose a spiritual partner for herself in this way, she would test the candidate's real strength. In the world of cultivation, fighting was undoubtedly the best test method. Today, more and more people in Brahma Sky City came to believe that Brahma's pure sky might be serious this time, and they were probably really choosing a cultivating partner for Chinhi. It is said that this time it is not only the top forces of the heavenly mandate realm that have arrived but also top forces in the demon realm. Who do you think will break through the Futian matrix and come to the Futian Pavilion to meet Chinhi goddess? Someone asked in the restaurant. They should all have a chance, someone said. Hearing his words, suddenly, many people looked at the speaker, sneering, their eyes full of contempt. The young man saw people's eyes and knew he had said something wrong. His face was burning a little, and he looked toward the elder figures at the same table. His elder also gave him a stare and said, "If Brahma's pure sky wants to choose a spiritual partner for Saintess Chinhi, many people will go all out for this battle. Do you know how powerful goddess Chinhi is, and how powerful the goddesses below the throne of the 9 skies are? They are jointly in charge of this large matrix, and it may even happen that no one of this generation in the heavenly mandate realm can crack it. But the people who came this time are also top figures. It shouldn't be very hard for them, right?" The young man murmured. He seemed afraid of being laughed at, so he lowered his voice a bit. It depends on how well they can cooperate. They are going to face the Brahma's pure sky's Futian matrix in charge of many saintesses. At present, no one knows how powerful it will be, but don't forget what skills the Brahma's pure sky excels at, the elder continued. "The spiritual soul attack," the young man replied. The peerless empress of Brahman's pure sky could read minds all over the 3,000 realms. The Brahma's pure sky's attack power was also absolutely incredible nowadays. Her Majesty hasn't engaged in any combat for so many years. The world now only knows about her dazzling and unparalleled beauty but has forgotten how majestic Her Majesty was at that time, the elder said with emotion. Many people thought of the rumors of the past, feeling emotional. Not long ago, in the celestial gate of vast heaven, those warriors of Divine Palace from outside used the extremely powerful way of sonic wave, the divine sound. However, it was said that Chin-He goddess's cultivation of the great Brahma heavenly voice was also the top one below the Renhuang figures of Brahma's pure sky. The great Brahma heavenly voice, many people murmured. The Brahma pure sky was not specialized in sound wave attacks, and the great Brahma voice actually was the power to attack one's spiritual soul and disturb one's mind. In cooperation with the divine sword of cleansing, the great Brahma voice was almost invincible in killing spiritual souls. It was recognized as the strongest attack skill against spiritual souls in the heavenly mandate realm. And now, all the goddesses were at the Xiantian large matrix together, of which the power might be inestimable. People would only know it when they saw it for themselves. Brahma's pure sky is also good at the way of music? At this time, a voice said. Although it was not very loud, it seemed to have a strange power, and many people could hear it clearly. They followed the voice and saw a group of figures coming from the void sky. Every one of them had an extraordinary temperament, and even though the people who followed behind didn't release any life force, people all felt an invisible pressure from their glances. These people were all of Renhuang levels. They are all warriors of the heavenly mandate dynasty, people thought to themselves and felt stirred. The person who took the head must be Heavenly Mandate Dynasty Crown Prince, Yi Tianyu, and the people around him should be his brothers. Each one of them was a top-level figure. It was rumored recently that some excavations had been completed in the ancestors' mausoleum of the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty, and perhaps these people had become stronger. The great Brahma heavenly voice of Brahma's pure sky is indeed the art of music and aims to attack spiritual spirits. It is not a pure music cultivation method, Yi Tianyu said. His brother came out of the Divine Sound Palace and was a direct disciple of the Palace Lord. His accomplishment in the way of sound was the best below Renhuang figures in the Divine Palace. As for in the heavenly mandate realm, his ability in music should be unmatched. The young man nodded and smiled, saying, "If so, I am looking forward to it even more. I also want to see what the proud lady who refused my brother looks like," a young man with a slightly mature look said with a smile. He was personable and was the most senior person from the Divine Palace. Even Yi Tianyu would address him as his elder brother. "Brother, don't expose my scars," Yi Tianyu said and shook his head with a bitter smile. People around him saw this and looked surprised. It was said that the Crown Prince of Heavenly Mandate Dynasty was an extremely proud person, but now it seemed that the rumors were not completely true. Of course, perhaps only when he was in front of figures as outstanding as him, such as brothers of the same sect, the Crown Prince of the Heavenly Mandate would be so humble. If he was facing outsiders, maybe it would be impossible. But there are many sisters in the Divine Palace who admire you, and all of them are very talented and stunning women. But in the Divine Palace, you never thought about having a spiritual partner and just focused on cultivation. Now, you are back in the heavenly mandate realm and have to participate in this. Probably, this is your family's mission." His brother smiled and said. Yi Tianyu didn't say anything. If it had not been for the family mission, he would have lived more freely. However, now the grudges of 2 generations had fallen on him, and he would naturally do his best to bring the heavenly mandate dynasty to an unprecedented height. This was his mission, and he would put his all into it. After doing all this, maybe he would pursue the supreme heavenly way as he wanted. The path was long and arduous, and he had a long way to go. At this time, there was the sound of the wind blowing coming from the void sky. Everyone looked up and saw light shining. Divine birds came down. The divine light of golden raven, the glory of golden pring bird, and the aura of phoenix shone at the same time. How glaring the sky and the earth was! Everyone saw this scene and immediately understood that warriors of the demon sky court from the demon realm had arrived. "The life force is so strong," said a young man next to Yi Tianyu as he looked up to the void sky. All the divine birds in the group were of Saint Plane with extremely strong life forces. "You should have all heard of the cultivators of the demon sky court of the heavenly mandate realm," Yi Tianyu said. Everyone nodded. They all knew about the top forces in the 9 supreme realms. "It seems that this time, we will have a chance to see the most outstanding people in the heavenly mandate realm," someone said with a smile, expectant. Although they came from the Divine Palace and were all top figures, They were not invincible, just like the top warriors of the heavenly mandate realm, and they might not be stronger than them. Now, since they had the opportunity to cross the realms and compete with other top figures, they were also looking forward to this chance. In the void sky, warriors of the demon sky court glanced down with sharp eyes. In the heavenly mandate realm, the demon sky court was the top demon alliance and could be said to be the powerful force with most people and the only one. Even the heavenly mandate dynasty couldn't compete with them from this perspective. The Dragon God clan, someone said. In the distance, another group of people was approaching. They instantly attracted the eyes of warriors of the demon sky court, including June's. June's eyes fell on one of them, Long Chun of the Dragon God clan, the warrior who had shared fame with him in the demon world. After that, the Divine Elephant clan, the Purple Gold Rat clan, the Ingzhan Mountain, and other forces had gradually all arrived. Suddenly, the area around the Futian pavilion was like a gathering of all top figures. June, Long Chen, and the Crown Prince of Heavenly Mandate Dynasty have all arrived. Only Dong Lu is not here. People commented. Below the Futian pavilion, countless people were looking up toward the warriors who appeared from different directions. The best warriors of both the human race and the demon race in the heavenly mandate realm had all arrived except for Gu Donglu, who was tied with Yi Tianyu. It was said that he would not show up. The celestial gate of vast heaven has arrived, a voice said. Countless pairs of eyes looked toward one direction, where Yi Futian and his party showed up. At the forefront, Yi Futian, Jiang Taichu, Hua Qingyun, and Wang Yambing, all of them, looked peerless. This lineup was terrifying. The lineup this time is even more terrifying than last time during the Violet Heavenly Palace's event, many people whispered, their hearts full of anticipation. Who could break through the Shen-Tian matrix led by Qin He, the first goddess of Brahma's pure sky? Yi Tianyu looked toward the direction of the celestial gate of vast heaven and whispered, "They are here." They. People of the divine palace asked, looking over there. Then they saw Jiang Taichu, Yi Futian, and others. Their temperament was indeed extraordinary. The white-haired man broke the divine sound skill, Yi Tianyu said. Suddenly, all of their gazes fell on Yi Futian, especially the best disciple of the divine sound palace next to Yi Tianyu, who was staring at him with a pair of sharp eyes. "I would like to see what his ability is like, but let brother break the matrix first," the young man said calmly. The purpose for them to come here today was not only to see the top figures of the heavenly mandate realm but also to help Yi Tianyu. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Yi Futian naturally had also seen Yi Tianyu and others, but he just took a glance at them and looked away. Yi Futian naturally had also seen Yi Tianyu and others, but he just took a glance at them and looked away. He did not expect that the charm of the first goddess of Brahma's pure sky would be so great that the lineup of warriors who came this time was even better than that in the Violet Heavenly Palace. Of course, so many events that happened recently might also make the situation in Heavenly Mandate Realm a little bit more intense, which was why cultivators of many forces in the Heavenly Mandate Realm had become more sensitive. At this time, many people looked up toward the direction of Shen-Tian Pavilion and saw goddesses in long dresses descending from the sky and landing on different steps. They were all stunning beauties. Over the sky dome, there were constantly figures descending. They were like fairies first coming to the world of immortals, and they stood on the steps in different locations and looked tranquil. At the highest place, a peerless goddess slowly fell with breathtaking beauty. She was the first goddess of Brahma's pure sky, Qin He. Qin He directly landed on the peak of Shen-Tian Pavilion. She sat on the ground, waving her hands, and an ancient zither appeared in front of her. Is it the great Brahma heavenly voice? People thought and felt unsettled. People had heard about this ultimate skill of Brahma's pure sky, but people's impressions of Qin He from Brahma Sky City had always been of the first goddess known for her great beauty, and they had almost neglected her strength. However, the great Brahma voice was the music of killing. Nobody knew what things would be like if the killing power erupted in Qin He's hands. "How many goddesses are there?" someone asked in a low voice and secretly counted the goddesses of Brahma's pure sky, who appeared on the stairs of Xiantian Pavilion. All the 81 goddesses have arrived, someone said. People had made it clear that on the Xiantian Pavilion stairs, there were 81 goddesses. In the Brahma's pure sky, there were 9 Jyotian sacred ladies, and under their thrones, they were respectively 9 goddesses. This meant that the 81 goddesses were all the saintesses in Brahma's pure sky. Such a lineup was terrifying. Of course, the goddesses with titles did not necessarily have high planes. In Brahma's pure sky, there were many cultivators whose cultivation levels were higher than that of the saintesses. Therefore, they could not be called the strongest figures of Brahma's pure sky. But at this moment, many more figures walked down from the Xiantian Pavilion. They were other cultivators from the Brahma's pure sky. They descended and showed up around the goddesses, enlarging the array. Seeing the scene, many people showed a different look. How many cultivators had the Brahma's pure sky deployed this time? However, even though hundreds of Saint Plain cultivators had shown up at the same time, when they scattered on the magnificent stairs of Xiantian Pavilion of tens of thousands of feet, they were spread apart and could barely occupy every position. At this time, over the Xiantian Pavilion, there was a Renhuang warrior of the Brahma's pure sky. She looked down toward the crowd and said, "Today, Qin He will lead all cultivators of the Brahma's pure sky to challenge warriors of all forces in the heavenly mandate realm. People from all forces can join the battle this time. There is no limit on the number of people, and we will adjust the number of warriors on our side who participate in battles according to the situation. Anyone who gets hurt will be replaced. One more thing. The killing force in the matrix is not controllable. Therefore, for those who have not cultivated enough, please be cautious and do not enter the battlefield casually. Those who can reach Xiantian Pavilion will be considered as having cracked the matrix. Today, let's see who can take the lead to enter Xiantian Pavilion first." Her voice spread through the void sky, and everyone could hear it clearly. She waved her hand at everyone and said, "Please." After these words, she retreated to the Xiantian Pavilion and left the place for Qin He and the other goddesses. At this moment, on the Xiantian Pavilion stairs, Qin He was sitting there alone, looking peerless. She put her slim fingers on the strings as she gazed down. She didn't look to see the people below her. It was as if the bustling and noisy world below had nothing to do with her. At this time, Qin He gave people a feeling of loneliness. It was as if she was the only one in the world. In addition, Qin He didn't seem to have the kind of sweetness and gentleness that she usually had. Instead, her temperament was cold. Her long skirt fluttered slightly, and there seemed to be an aura of killing between the sky and the earth. Even though the crowd was far from her, they could clearly feel the changes in Qin He's temperament. Now, she was a completely different person. Cultivating in music? The young man of Divine Music Palace next to Tianyu looked up at her in the void sky and whispered, "She is so beautiful." Indeed. If Tianyu could marry her, it would surely be a good story, the elder brother said with a smile. Even in the Divine Palace, Qin He's appearance could be considered peerless. Although cultivators of their levels were free from sexuality, they still admired beauty. Who did not like beautiful things? Someone has started to move. At this moment, they looked in one direction and saw a group of figures walking down the stairs. Their leader looked unusual and was dressed in luxurious clothes. They were very eye-catching, but their faces were quite unsightly. They were warriors of the Purple Gold Rat Clan. Unexpectedly, the Demon Clan took action first. The rats are so eager to challenge the Matrix. Do they want to improve their later generation's facial genes? Stop dreaming, some human cultivators in the surroundings said jokingly. In the eyes of human cultivators, the purple golden rats didn't deserve Qin He. If they had some thoughts, they were absolutely delusional. This was probably the reason why the purple golden rats had been working hard. Even though they had become the top forces in the demon realm, the world was still prejudiced against them. In the world's eye, the rats were low-level demon beasts. Perhaps it would be difficult to change the stereotype with just one generation. It required the efforts of several generations. One day, when they stood at the real peak of the demon realm, the world could do nothing but admire them. Warriors of the purple-golden rat clan came to the bottom of the stairs. They looked up and said, cupping their hands, "We'd like to seek your advice." 32 warriors, people whispered. The purple-golden rat clan sent 32 warriors into the battle. After they said it, the radiant purple-gold divine light shone all over their bodies, extremely sharp. It was as if golden air flows were emanating from them. At the same time, he began to play the piano with both hands above the void sky. The moment the music sounded, a sense of killing shrouded the stairs, making people feel extremely cold. Many goddesses started attacking at the same time, and the holy light over their bodies shone and bloomed. For a moment, the aura seemed to be integrated into the music of the zither. The great law between the sky and earth started flowing, and soon people found that the world in front of them had changed. On those stairs, there were countless phantoms. It was as if the stairs, tens of thousands of feet tall, was full of figures of the goddesses of the Saint Brahma sky. These figures seemed to be transformed from the goddesses' wills. At this moment, they all moved with the sound of the zither, as if led by He. For a time, the super matrix began to run on the stairs. Virum. 32 dazzling beams of purple gold lights rushed into the sky, reaching the max limit of speed. They could directly penetrate the great law. Phantoms in the void sky directly shattered into pieces. The 32 beams of bright purple gold light rushed above the sky and were indestructible. It was as if they had created some kind of resonance, and the blooming divine glow directly penetrated the great path. It's so fast, people looked at the beams of divine light and remarked, but it was even hard for them to see things clearly. In an extremely short time, nobody knew how many phantoms had been destroyed. This scene had led many people to re-evaluate the strength of the purple gold rats. Although the purple gold rats looked extremely ugly, they were indeed very powerful now. However, the aura of the goddesses became more and more bright, and the rhythm became more and more urgent, penetrating the void sky and directly going into the eardrums of those purple-golden rat warriors. They seemed to be in a trance. It was as if they were in an endless mirage, and the phantoms couldn't be dispelled. They want to break this matrix directly, but the purple-gold rat clan doesn't have the strength to do it, Huang Qingyun, amid the crowd of the celestial gate of vast heaven, whispered. Futian also agreed with him. How could the matrix of the 81 goddesses be so easy to break through? Unless they had the absolute strength over He, they would be passive if they broke into the field directly like this. Warriors of the purple gold rat clan seemed to be too hasty. Maybe it was because they were eager to prove themselves. The great Brahma voice lingered between the sky and the earth. Even the spiritual souls of people who were not on the battlefield seemed to be strongly disturbed. It was as if the scenes before them had become unreal, and countless goddesses were dancing in front of their eyes. The warriors of the purple gold rats had also realized it. Although they were extremely fast as they moved up, their wills became a little shaken, their spirits became unstable, and the great Brahma voice entered their eardrums like crazy. The sound also brought illusions and external wills into their minds. The extremely dazzling purple gold light erupted from the purple gold rats standing at the center, and their speed suddenly skyrocketed, penetrating numerous phantoms directly. Now they could only continue breaking through the matrix. But at the next moment, they found countless phantoms of goddesses holding divine swords at the same time show up, and the glory above the divine swords directly threatened their spiritual spirits. "Be careful," the purple golden rat in the middle said, but it was too late before he said it. The great Brahma voice became more emphatic and powerful. It contained an extremely powerful killing mood. At the same time, in their minds, countless divine swords dropped down, like otherworldly weapons that annihilated everything. With this sword out, their souls were pierced through, and the sword seemed to be able to ignore their physical defenses and directly cut their spiritual souls. Several vulnerable purple gold rats let out shrieks. It was as if their souls had been penetrated by tens of thousands of spirits and cut into segments. They spat out blood, and their bodies fell down from the air. The light emitting from their bodies instantly dimmed down, and the aura disappeared. Poof! Warriors of the purple gold clan kept spitting out blood and fell one after another from the sky. They could not bear such an attack. Seeing this scene, everyone sighed. They, who wanted to move first, attracted the world's attention, but now they had failed and became typical negative examples. Today, in this situation in which Brahma's pure sky had arranged such a large matrix, it was definitely not easy to break it easily. At this moment, their embarrassment was now the same as their sense of fulfillment had been when they entered the matrix in the spotlight. Boom. Boom. As the last warrior of the purple-golden rat clan was knocked to the ground, the powerful killing will gradually dissipated. The phantoms disappeared, and everything returned to peace. However, the peerless goddess at the top of the Futian pavilion stairs was still surrounded by a cold, murderous life force. He looked down at the ancient zither in front of her and moved her slender fingers away from it. In the previous battle, it seemed that her zither played a role in leading the willpowers of the goddesses to launch the terrifying spiritual attacks. The vast and boundless space was extremely quiet. People looked down again and saw that the warriors of the purple-gold rat clan, whose bodies had been crushed, stood upright and looked up at the stairs. The defense of the purple-gold rats was actually very strong, but their spiritual souls still couldn't bear the great attacks of the great Brahma voice and the divine sword of cleansing. The body of the leader of the purple-golden rat clan shone brightly. Purple-gold light emitted from his eyes as if he was unwilling to give up and still wanted to have another try. A sound of something breaking the air came, and the body of the purple-gold rat leader disappeared. He turned into a beam of purple-gold light rushing directly toward the stairs, leaving an extremely bright light beam in the void sky. It was as if it was about to go straight up the sky. He's long hair was fluttering in the air above the stairs. Her cold and beautiful eyes glanced at the divine light in the lower sky, and then she suddenly struck the strings with her hand. The forceful sound of zither erupted. Almost at the same moment, the goddesses released their wills, which resonated with the music of the zither. An illusory divine light penetrated the void sky, like a sword of emptiness, pure and flawless. It chopped down over the rat's body and stopped the purple-gold divine light in the void sky. The figure of the divine light appeared, which continued breaking through the void sky. The rat was trying to cross the stairs with his own strength. He was still playing the zither with her head lowered and ignored him. Behind her body, a statue of the divine goddess showed up. This goddess seemed to have many arms, each holding a sword at the same time. Countless elusive figures were appearing above the head of the purple-golden rat. In the great Brahma heavenly voice, the light of the divine sword was shining, purifying everything in the world. Boom! The nirvana plane purple-golden rat stopped again, trembling, and tens of thousands of swords penetrated his spiritual soul. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and as a beam of light fell, his body again fell into the lower sky. His legs were bent, and he was half kneeling on the ground, blood oozing out from his mouth. It was obviously not easy to forcibly go through the Futian matrix alone. Even He's ability was not less than that of the rat. Besides, even though the rat had been injured by the shock, He's zither sound did not stop, and the great Brahma voice continued. The Futian matrix turned translucent, and countless phantoms of goddesses appeared and filled the stairs tens of thousands of feet long. Those who looked up from below the stairs could no longer see where he was. "Time to retreat," said the demon emperor of the purple-gold rat clan. The forcible attack this time was a complete failure. They couldn't shake the Futian matrix in the slightest bit. He seems to be a little different than before," Futian murmured and looked at the dissipating figures in the distance. He was full of killing will while playing the zither. She was completely different from the Futian was familiar with. Was it because she was fighting on the battlefield, or was it because of the change of her state of mood? "She is indeed a bit different," said Jiang Taichu next to him. "Besides, it is useless to rely on a large number of people to crack the Futian matrix. Such a strategy is not even as efficient as having a single top figure challenge it." Futian nodded slightly. He had also realized this. Earlier, the warriors of the Purple Gold clan broke into the matrix, but, in fact, they all fought alone. In the large-scale attack of the great Brahma voice and the divine sword of cleansing, all of them received attacks of the same level. Therefore, people with the lowest plane were injured first. The only solution is to let the whole team have the same level of attacking ability. In this way, the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty will be the most promising one to break the matrix among all the top forces, Hua Qingyuan said in a low voice. Yi Futian and others were silent. What Hua Qingyuan said was not unreasonable. Previously, the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty had performed the combined attack of 9 warriors, which had amazing killing power in cooperation with the divine sound skill. Now, many of Yi Tianyu's brothers had also arrived, and the effect of their combined attack would undoubtedly be far stronger than that of warriors of the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty. They would become the strongest force to fight together. Speaking of breaking the matrix, the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty was the most promising. Everyone present was not ordinary, so they could all tell. At this moment, another figure stepped forward. He came out by himself. It was Long Qin of the Dragon God clan. Long Qin knew that their Dragon God clan was not good at combining attacks. They were afraid that they would be defeated one by one in the matrix, so it was better for him to try it alone and directly break into the Futian matrix. Long Qin is ready to attack, people murmured. Both human cultivators and warriors of the demon realm were very concerned when they saw Long Qin come out. This top figure of the Dragon God clan was equivalent to Yi Tianyu in the demon realm, but the world was not clear about how strong he really was. At most, one purple blood divine dragon could appear in one generation in the Dragon God clan, and in this era, the dragon was Long Qin. Dressed in a dragon robe, Long Qin stood there with an imposing bearing, like a towering mountain. He looked up at the stairs and then took a step forward, walking directly toward the stairs. The moment he stepped on the stairs, he seemed to be surrounded by countless phantoms, and the great Brahma voice flowed directly into his eardrums, making his mind confused. But then from his body, a horrifying, bloody roar burst out. Suddenly, the void sky turned into the color of appalling blood. He didn't look at anyone, nor did he see where they were. But the terrifying glow of blood just engulfed the stairs of tens of thousands of feet as if it had covered every corner of the world. Is this the power of the purple blood dragon? People exclaimed, their hearts beating fast. They even felt that their own blood vessels also had a mysterious reaction and also were roaring and rumbling. Long Chen's blood force was indeed horrifying, which might be the strongest one below Renhuang level that no one could compare with. Even warriors of the Divine Palace beside Yi Tianyu showed a surprised look. Someone said, the purple blood divine dragon of the Heavenly Mandate realm indeed deserves the fame inherited from his ancestors. Is he the legendary mutant of purple blood royal family in the Dragon Clan? Long Chen stood on the stairs, his spiritual soul trembling the space. His eyes turned the color of blood, and he raised his hand and clawed toward the void sky. Suddenly, countless blood-colored Real dragons appeared and circled around the world. Those exploding gusts of blood force at this moment all turned into bloody true dragons. The blood in the goddess's veins was also roaring and tumbling as if this monstrous blood sea devoured everyone. Be careful, a voice sounded in all the goddess's ears. Long Chen was standing on the stairs, and a horrifying dragon shadow showed up over his body, roaring against the sky. The void air was shaking violently. He raised his fist and punched directly into the void space. The power of the dragon god, people said, hearts beating hard when the fist strike came out. This was the first time for most people to see Long Chen attack. It was so intimidating that he could be considered appalling. The punch blasted out, and those bloody dragons roared and dashed toward those ladies. Many ladies in the Futian matrix let out groans. The blood in their bodies seemed to be out of their control, and their delicate bodies were about to break and collapse. Bang bang bang. A series of explosions came out, and many ladies have shaken away. The ladies behind them, who had not fought yet, immediately replaced them, but they also felt their blood surging and roaring. Long Chen's attack was extremely overbearing. The zither music became more intense. Wind and clouds danced in the vast void sky. Many divine swords of cleansing showed up, piercing into the sky and thrusting toward Long Chen. The sound of the dragon roaring trembled the sky. Long Chen's dragon soul seemed to directly depart from his body and turn into a purple-blood divine dragon. The gigantic dragon encircled his human body. The horrifying divine sword of cleansing arrived and tried to cut through his spiritual soul, but the defense power of that purple-blood dragon was also amazingly strong. The blood light directly entangled the sword and competed with it. Boom! Long Chen took a step forward, forcibly approaching the goddesses. Each time he took a step, the void sky trembled. The blood in goddesses' bodies kept growling, and the sound of dragon rumbling shattered the void sky. Every step and every growl of the dragon contained the power of the dragon god, which was extremely overbearing. Yi Tianyu watched Long Chen breaking into the matrix and felt stirred. There was another top figure. It seemed that the current generation of the demon realm was not inferior to human cultivators of the heavenly mandate realm at all. However, at this moment, with the great Brahma heavenly voice, countless figures were attacking toward Long Chen. Although he was still marching forward, he was also badly affected. Another trembling sound of the dragon growling came and shook the world. Long Chen directly transformed into a divine dragon and merged into the dragon soul. He rose up and forcibly cut open many attacks from the divine sword. He didn't raise her head and was still playing the zither. The wills of many goddesses resonated. Behind her, the holy figure showed up again, like a goddess with 3 heads and 6 arms, glaring at the lower sky. Countless divine swords of nothingness dropped down and chopped toward the body of the dragon. The divine dragon let out trembling dragon roars and flew all the way up. The goddess drew many palm prints using her 6 arms at the same time, and the countless divine swords merged into one and chopped down. Boom! The dragon's body stopped, and the palm print of the goddess remained in the void air. The finger of the palm once again pointed down, and another divine sword fell again, penetrating directly from the head of the dragon to its body, disregarding its defense. A loud roar came out, and many more ladies were injured by the shock. But as another sword fell down, the divine dragon could no longer bear the attack and retreated to the lower sky. The divine dragon turned back to Long Chen. He looked up at the divine lady, who was playing the zither in the void sky, and sighed. It seems that it is impossible for a single person alone to break goddess's matrix. After saying those words, he turned around and left. Despite his failure, the strength reflected in his performance was still shocking. Long Chen's failure also made people realize that it was impossible to rely on a single person to break the Xiantian matrix. From this perspective, it seemed that there weren't many top forces in the vast heavenly mandate realm who could break the matrix. Perhaps now, the most promising team was the heavenly mandate dynasty. For other forces, it might be almost impossible. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. After Long Chen, the divine elephant cultivators tried to break the matrix. Many of the huge beasts reverted to their original forms and trampled on people's spiritual souls. This was a horrifying sight to see, and many of the goddesses were wounded and forced to flee. After Long Chen, the divine elephant cultivators tried to break the matrix. Many of the huge beasts reverted to their original forms and trampled on people's spiritual souls. This was a horrifying sight to see, and many of the goddesses were wounded and forced to flee. But in the end, the divine elephants were still defeated. Many of them were using the divine elephant stomping the sky technique, but they still could not block the Xiantian matrix. However, they had managed to seriously threaten the Xiantian matrix of Brahma's pure sky and had created an incredibly strong breaking force. When they stampeded, they could break almost anything. Afterward, Yingzhou Mountain tried as well, but they were defeated. They did not even do as well as the divine elephants had. In terms of team compatibility of the demonic beasts, the divine elephants were in the top 2. The only ones who could resist them were the Sky Demon Court, who had had many powerful fighters and thus had great individual combat ability. Even the dragon gods were not as good as them. After all, the dragon's gods could not launch a simultaneous attack like the divine elephant stomping the sky technique, and thus they were not as good at team combat. The Sky Demon Court are the only ones who have not tried yet. Up in the vast sky, countless people were watching the top forces that had appeared in every direction. Among the top forces of the heavenly mandate realm, the Sky Demon Court was the only one who had not tried to break the matrix yet. All of the other forces had tried and failed. This made the people watching the battle look very somber. Sure enough, it was incredibly difficult to break through the matrix that was led by Qinhe. Now, the Sky Demon Court was the only demonic clan that still had a chance to do so. It seemed like things would turn out just as expected. Among all the top human powers, only the Heavenly Mandate dynasty could threaten the matrix. If Qinhe wanted to find a cultivation partner, it would be quite appropriate for her to make her decision based on this matrix that she was in charge of. Now, it all depended on who could lead the other cultivators to break the matrix. At that moment, another group of figures stepped out. They were the cultivators of the Violet Heavenly Palace. Under Zhang Yuan's leadership, they stepped to the bottom of the stairs. Thunder boomed all over his body, and brilliant lightning cracked. The people around him were all flashing with the power of Thunder Will. Suddenly, storm clouds rolled over the place where they were standing, making it all look very gloomy. The Violet Heavenly Palace seemed to have been holding their breath ever since the feasts in the Origin Mountains and the Violet Heavenly Palace. Zhang Yuan had once been hailed for his supreme body of the Great Path, but ever since his defeat he had felt more and more like he did not even exist, especially among all the great figures of the Heavenly Mandate realm. The Prince of the Heavenly Mandate dynasty and Gu Donglu were such powerful heroes that it made it so that everyone seemed to forget about the man with the supreme body of the Great Path. But Zhang Yuan had been holding his breath all along, and so had the Violet Heavenly Palace. Qinhe had formed the Xiantian Matrix, and no one had been able to break it. If the Violet Heavenly Palace could, then they could finally take that breath. Thunder boomed up in the sky, and the clouds covered the sun, forming a terrible apocalyptic matrix. All of the thunder will of the cultivators in front of Zhang Yuan seemed to flow into him. Zhang Yuan led the matrix, gathering all of the thunder of the heavens and the earth into himself. Zhang Yuan led the cultivators of the Violet Heavenly Palace in their assault upon the matrix. Endless thunder suffused Zhang Yuan's body. There was no doubt that he had gathered up the most power here. All kinds of will were there for him to use, and he was an avatar of a god of thunder. Thunder boomed as the cultivators of the Violet Heavenly Palace stepped up to form their matrix. At the moment their attack fell, endless apocalyptic lightning swept down, containing the power to destroy one's very soul. It was able to destroy divine sword light that was shooting towards them. This force seemed like it would be able to destroy the Xiantian Matrix. The devastating lightning was like a catastrophe of the Great Path. It destroyed everything it touched, including the images of all the goddesses. Zhang Yuan was in his thunder form. He floated up the stairs without stopping, and everywhere he passed, everything was destroyed utterly. All of the lightning of the Great Path is gathered together in his form, and he is using his supreme body of the Great Path to wield it, everyone thought to themselves, trembling. This attack that the Violet Heavenly Palace had launched was incredibly powerful. It seemed like Zhang Yuan was trying to prove himself once again. The catastrophe swords shot out towards the endless phantoms, and a groan came from within the matrix as someone was seriously wounded. Qinhe looked down at Zhang Yuan. Was he trying to wash the Violet Heavenly Palace's shame by defeating her? She strummed a chord, and countless notes filled the air. They resonated with the Great Path. Within the Xiantian Matrix, everyone's wills joined together. The music seemed to change, becoming more powerful and energetic, as well as harsher. She looked down at her instrument and began to play faster and faster. The music of Brahma's pure sky transformed into a formless storm of notes that covered all of the cultivators of the Violet Heavenly Palace. Zhang Yuan was at the center of all their power. He might be able to block it, but what about the others? Countless images of divine maidens appeared in the minds of all the cultivators from the Violet Heavenly Palace. They all saw a sword as well, a sword that was completely heedless of all their thunder. The powerful music abruptly stopped, but at that moment, the harsh feeling grew even stronger. Qinhe placed her delicate hands on the strings and rested them there. She looked down and plucked the strings. Suddenly, A harsh sound burst forth from her instrument. Cough, cough, cough. The cultivators of the violet heavenly palace all coughed up blood at the same time, as if the total combination of all their techniques was still very weak. At that moment, Zhang Yuan went pale. His aura grew weaker. Qin He was looking down at him, and she did not stop. He ran her fingers over the strings, and Zhang Yuan felt countless swords cut into his soul and pierce his body. He felt like he was at the edge of death. Blood ran from the corners of his mouth. The sound of thunder still emitted from his body, but a look of deep pain was in his eyes. But all he saw looking back at him was a pair of cold eyes. At that moment, he seemed to understand that he had been trying to use this chance to prove himself, but Qin He also had a lot riding on this battle. He turned and walked back down. Everyone watched him. They could feel a faint sense of sadness coming off of his supreme body of the great path. Ever since that battle where he had fallen from grace, it seemed like he had never had a chance to climb back up. Your legend could be shattered in a single battle, but to rebuild it, you needed to prove yourself time and time again. The Violet Heavenly Palace's matrix had been defeated, and 10,000 Divine Mountain did not seem to want to participate. Other than the Sky Demon Court, the only forces left were the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty and the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven. And many people would say that, in truth, this had always been a battle between the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven and the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty. The Heavenly Mandate Dynasty had always wanted to form a marriage alliance with Brahma's pure sky, and it was said that Qin He was interested in Yi Futian. But from what they had seen today, it seemed like the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty would have a much better chance of breaking the matrix than the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven. The vast area around Her Excellency Shen Tian seemed extremely quiet. The people of the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty did not move, and it appeared that the people of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven were not planning on moving either. What do you think? Hua Qingyun asked Yi Futian. They had no intention of forming a marriage alliance. Qin He may have been very good-looking, but if Yi Futian and her became cultivation partners, they would lack the required emotional connection, and so it would be rather dull. This would affect his cultivation. He knew the news that had come from the outside world. Thus, he had asked Yi Futian to play the main role in today's events. If they wanted a marriage alliance, Yi Futian would be the best person to offer up. The elder of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven clearly wanted this. But Yi Futian had said that he and Qin He were just friends. But now, they had to stop the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty no matter what. At the very least, they absolutely could not allow them to form a marriage alliance with Brahma's pure sky. It was better to leave this problem to Yi Futian. Hua Qingyuan did not want to deal with it. Yi Futian shrugged. I have no opinion. They would wait and see what the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty did. Over on the other side where the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty was, Yin Tianyu and the others were watching the people from the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven. The youth beside Yin Tianyu said, Brother, it seems that they are waiting for us. What is the difference between waiting and being powerless? Said someone beside him. Yin Tianyu laughed. No one thought that the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven would be able to break the matrix, but from what they could see, their matrix had no weaknesses. They had a chance to break the Shen matrix. Thus, they could not take this too lightly. They wanted to be the ones to do it, and so they must use their thunder techniques to break the Shen matrix. Brothers, shall we teach the goddesses of Brahma's pure sky a lesson together? Yin Tianyu finally said to the people around him. We have been waiting for you to say that. Good. Everyone else nodded as well. Yin Tianyu looked behind him and said, Qin He of Brahma's pure sky is leading the matrix herself, so we must give this our all. Come with me and we will break the matrix. Yes, Your Highness, they all answered. 2 of them had been trained in the Divine Palace. The rest were all common disciples, but they were still extremely talented. As the group of them strode forward with such might, everyone watching felt like the Shen matrix was about to be broken. The Heavenly Mandate Dynasty's matrix was too powerful. The people from the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty walked to the foot of the stairs. Yin Tianjiao called up to Qin He far above him, I am Yin Tianjiao, here with my brothers to test the strength of the goddess's matrix. After he said this, the musician beside him knelt down. A Guqin spirit flashed to life, and its power joined with his own in an instant. Divine light covered him. He was sitting at the very top, and he was sitting at the very bottom. This young man was named Yen Sui, and he was the most outstanding disciple of the Divine Music Palace. He had been trained in divine sounds by the Palace Lord, and his learning ran incredibly deep. He was in the top 10 of all the disciples under the Renhuang of the Divine Palace. Divine sounds are the best way of teaching Brahma's pure sky a lesson, said Yen Sui with a slight smile. He looked up at He in the sky. His expression was relaxed. It was as if there was no pressure. Previously, all of the people had been unable to withstand the rhythmic sorcery attacks as they tried to break the matrix. Now that he was on the battlefield, he would turn his opponent's attacks into nothing. He looked down at him. Her music rang out with astonishing sharpness. It seemed like the air grew cold and foreboding in an instant. Everyone around them who heard the music seemed to be able to sense He's state of mind. Could it be that she had not wished to engage in this confrontation at all? But no one had time to think about that. Yen Sui's music rang out at the same time, and Yin Tianyu and the others stepped up into the air. Divine light suddenly flashed from them. They began to sing, and it sounded like the song of the Great Path. Their voices resonated with the worldly Great Path. Their music was directly integrated into the Guqin music. In a flash, all of the cultivators could feel two powerful forces of rhythmic sorcery come into being at the same time. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. A formless light curtain completely covered the cultivators of the Heavenly Mandate dynasty as they started to fly up the stairs. Yen Sui floated up from where he was sitting on the ground as he plucked at his Guqin strings, following behind the rest of them. A formless light curtain completely covered the cultivators of the Heavenly Mandate dynasty as they started to fly up the stairs. Yen Sui floated up from where he was sitting on the ground as he plucked at his Guqin strings, following behind the rest of them. The cultivators in front of him formed up into several different huge matrices, each one with 9 people. But all of these matrices together formed a single whole, and they were all controlled by Yen Sui. Yin Tianyu was in the foremost one. His body was shining with divine light as if he was the invincible spearhead of the whole formation. The music of Brahma's pure sky fell upon them, trying to influence their wills, but the rhythmic sorcery that was bursting forth from Yen Sui's divine sounds clashed with it in midair. One could not see any physical forces colliding, but at that moment, a suffocating pressure fell upon the Xiantian matrix. As this invisible clash happened, a great deal of will of the Great Path was shattered into nothingness. Brahma's pure sky is unable to seize the upper hand. Below the stairway, all of the cultivators in the vast area were paying close attention to the battle. The Heavenly Mandate dynasty was the force with the greatest hope of breaking the power of the matrix. And just as expected, the divine sounds were well suited to the cultivators of the Heavenly Mandate realm, and they resonated with them as they clashed invisibly with the music of Brahma's pure sky. Everyone looked towards Yin Tianyu and saw that all around him, the will of the Great Path was being destroyed. The music resonated with the Great Path and coalesced upon Yin Tianyu's body, pushing his aura, which was already extremely strong, to the limit. It seemed like he would become strong enough to smash the Great Path itself. An endless, violent airflow erupted from him and swept up the long stairway. One only had to look at the airflow to feel its power. The Heavenly Mandate dynasty was clearly far stronger than the Violet Heavenly Palace. The sharp music of the Great Path rang out, and a brush appeared in Yin Tianyu's hand. It was the Qianqiu brush. Not only that, but the resonating of the Great Path also made many other Qianqiu brushed appear in the air around them. Each one contained incredibly strong killing power. Yin Tianyu looked up into the sky and said, "The goddesses have offended us." As he said this, they pointed up at them with the Qianqiu brush. In a flash, the endless killing airflow swept up towards the Xiantian matrix, covering the entire staircase as it went. He had naturally known that this would be a difficult battle. The Xiantian matrix was extremely strong, but the power of the Heavenly Mandate dynasty's matrix was astonishing as well. Thus, she had to put her all into this. Her face turned solemn, and she plucked the strings of her guqin. In a flash, the powerful spiritual will that had gathered together within her spread out through the matrix, as if she were pouring it into it. In the Futian matrix, there was a goddess forming the matrix in each direction, as well as all the cultivators under their command. There were 9 goddesses under the Empress of Brahma's pure sky, and they were divided into 9 different bloodlines. Each bloodline was skilled at different things, and thus the powers that they could wield were different. A massive collision rocked the Futian matrix. Yin Tianyu was walking through the air with a terrible purpose. The music still played as the image of a goddess appeared behind Qin He. Invisible swords shot through the air, trying to break the matrix of the cultivators of the Heavenly Mandate dynasty. Yen Sui looked up at Qin He and smiled coldly. He plucked his strings, and the music resonated with the great path. All of the cultivators of the Heavenly Mandate dynasty seemed to join together, and terrible divine light bloomed from Yin Tianyu. At that moment, a brilliant golden kunpeng bird appeared in a swirl of music, covering all the cultivators of the Heavenly Mandate realm. It seemed that they had transformed into it. Countless swords shot towards them, but they could not break through their defenses. Their defenses were no longer merely of flesh and blood, as their wills had merged and had all been integrated into Yin Tianyu. Under the kunpeng's curtain of light, Yin Tianyu was able to bear all of the pressure by himself. This was different from the cultivators of the Violet Heavenly Palace, who had been defeated in an instant by a similar attack. Golden light shone from Yin Tianyu's eyes. He waved the Qianxiu brush and drew out the characters Crush, Power, and Earth. In a flash, many cracking sounds rang out as many of the goddesses in the Futian matrix were struck by a terrible killing will. Their robes were stained with blood as they were sent flying off the battlefield. But Yin Tianyu did not cease his attack. He lowered the Qianxiu brush and descended. Killing light shone as the divine sounds played. Everyone watched as the killing will started to cover the entire stairway. "You should give up. You can't stop us," said Yin Tianyu as he watched the images of women continuously appear in the matrix. He continued forward. The Futian matrix has lost the upper hand, everyone thought. Both the Heavenly Mandate dynasty's matrix and the Prince of the Heavenly Mandate dynasty himself were too strong. With such excellent cooperation between them, the Futian matrix would surely be broken soon. "Change the matrix," called Qin He in a cold voice. Suddenly, all the women on the stairway flashed, and more phantoms appeared, filling the whole area. Even the killing will that had come from the Qianxiu brush could not tell if it was attacking real opponents. But it seemed that Yin Tianyu did not care. He pointed into the sky, and a loud cry came from the Qianxiu brush as more Qianxiu brushes formed. They shot out in different directions. At the same time, the kunpeng flapped its wings, and golden light burst forth from it, shooting out into the air. Since Brahma's pure sky was still resisting, he would let them feel the entirety of his power. His father, the dynastic overlord, hoped that he would marry Qin He. This would determine the future of the Heavenly Mandate realm. But even if they could not form a marriage alliance, he would not care too much. As long as Brahma's pure sky stayed honest and kept to themselves, that would be fine. Even without the marriage alliance, their absolute strength would undoubtedly prove to be a good deterrent. So, since Brahma's pure sky had set up this matrix, he would not go easy on them. Those watching could see people fleeing from the Futian matrix continuously, their robes stained with blood. Some of them had been seriously wounded. At that moment, the music of Brahma's pure sky rang through the air. Everyone could feel its solemn atmosphere. All of the goddesses began to chant, and suddenly, the Futian matrix gathered together. The figure of a massive goddess formed in the air above Yin Tianyu. Although she was stunning, she was fierce as well. She had 3 heads and 6 arms. As Qin He's music played, the massive goddess held a sword in each of her 6 hands. Countless beams of brilliant sword light shrieked out and collided with the onrushing airflow. Divine purifying light was shining from her and transforming into heavenly swords. It was like an indestructible cleansing light. The many Qianxiu brushed shot through the air, but they were shattered into nothingness by the purifying swords as they were cut through. Only the brushes closest to Yin Tianyu continued to release the terrifying airflow. But the sword light continued to fall until it reached the giant Kunpeng. It began to break through its defenses bit by bit. Life spirits bloomed, and the divine picture of the heavenly mandate appeared. The divine sounds resonated with it, and divine light covered Yin Tianyu's body. The Kunpeng flashed as it flapped its wings and rose up into the sky up towards where the sword light was coming from. It raked out with its talons, trying to attack the goddess. The goddess's arm descended as she slashed out with her sword at the Kunpeng's talon. There was a shocking collision, and a wild storm of the great path burst out. The Kunpeng flapped its wings and continued upwards. The purifying swords turned into endless beams of light that lashed down and struck it. Boom, boom, boom. The great path trembled. Many of the cultivators of both Brahma's pure sky and the heavenly mandate dynasty had joined together, combining their powers. It was simply shocking to behold. The very sky was shaking. Women of Brahma's pure sky were sent flying out of the matrix one after another. Their wills could not bear the assault. The Kunpeng continued up. Everyone trembled as they witnessed this scene. "The matrix is about to break," said Hua Qingshan from among the people of the celestial gate of vast heaven. Yi Futian could see it as well, but they had expected this. The Xiantian matrix could not withstand the cultivators of the heavenly mandate dynasty, especially the ones from the divine palace who were willing to support Yin Tianyu for the sake of jealousy. The prince of the heavenly mandate dynasty may have been arrogant, but he was also very popular. At that moment, a look of surprise came over Yi Futian's face. He saw that within the Xiantian matrix, Qin He had stopped playing her guqin. She stepped forward, graceful as a fairy, and entered into the image of the massive goddess, becoming one with it. "She's still not willing to give up?" said Hua Qingyun with a look of surprise. "It looks like she's serious this time," said Jiang Taichu quietly. Once Qin He had entered the image of the goddess, her attack power increased tremendously. She pressed down upon the rising Kunpeng. The violent collision made everyone in the area tremble inwardly. Yin Tianyu had used nearly all of his strength in this great battle and used the ultimate arts of the heavenly mandate dynasty. The battle made Yi Futian think of the battle between Yin Tianyu and third brother, but this was even more violent since the power of entire matrices had been added in. This amount of power seemed like it went beyond the limits of the Saint Plane. "You still haven't given up?" came Yin Tianyu's voice from his matrix. Qin He had not stopped yet. Bang, bang, bang. There was a series of violent collisions that made everyone's hearts tremble. Hua Qingyun watched the scene, then looked at Yi Futian and said, "She is fighting so hard against Yin Tianyu. Could it be that she wants someone else to be the one to win?" Qin He was fighting so fiercely this time. It was like she had become a different person. "Brahma's pure sky has not said anything, we shouldn't speculate," said Yi Futian softly. He was watching as well and was a little bit surprised at Qin He's determination. Boom! The great path collapsed, and the sky trembled. A group of figures was sent flying downwards, all of them spitting up blood and with blood-stained robes. They were all cultivators of Brahma's pure sky. The Xiantian matrix had crumbled. Qin He had been knocked back as well, and her robes were blood-stained. She may have been fiercely determined, but the people of Brahma's pure sky could not bear this battle. The Xiantian matrix had been broken. The heavenly mandate dynasty had been the ones to do it. Yin Tianyu and the others were too strong. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. The Xiantian matrix was broken, and Qin He had been wounded, along with many of the cultivators who had formed the matrix. The Xiantian matrix was broken, and Qin He had been wounded, along with many of the cultivators who had formed the matrix. Yin Tianyu's powerful aura dissipated, and Yen Sui stopped playing. The disciples of the divine palace watched Qin He. There was none of the arrogance or disdain of victors in their eyes. On the contrary, most of them looked at her with a sense of respect. They were all powerful figures in that they could jointly support an attack that was being enhanced by divine sounds, and they had been able to force such a powerful collision. The goddesses of Brahma's pure sky were worthy of their reputation as well. They were all top figures in their own right. Yin Tianyu walked up the stairs, his fellow disciples following behind him until they made it up to Xiantian Pavilion. Qin He's robes were fluttering in the wind. Although they were blood-stained, they still could not hide her splendor. Her face was cold as she looked at Yin Tianyu. You are supernaturally powerful, Goddess Qin, and the Xiantian matrix is marvelous. If I did not have my brothers helping me, and it was just me, a simple cultivator from the Heavenly Mandate dynasty, trying to break the matrix, who knows what would have happened? This was an unusual attitude for Yin Tianyu. He was being incredibly humble and polite. You have broken the matrix, Your Highness, so please come up to Xiantian Pavilion. Qin He did not display very much emotion as she spoke to Yin Tianyu indifferently. Yin Tianyu nodded, and he and the other cultivators walked up the stairs to Xiantian Pavilion. But they stopped at the edge of the pavilion and looked down. It seemed that they wanted to watch the others charging at the Xiantian matrix. The people from Brahma's pure sky returned to their original places, but many of them could no longer fight, and so they left the battlefield. The matrix was now missing quite a few people. Everyone down below was looking at Qin He. She had just fought very fiercely, putting her all into the battle, which had led to her being wounded. This would probably affect the next fight. She could have given up in the last battle, but she had not. After the Heavenly Mandate dynasty, the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven and the Sky Demon Court were the only two forces that had not gone yet. Dazzling light was shining over where the demons of the Sky Demon Court were. Jun's eyes seemed to be glowing with golden fire as he looked up at Qin He in the Xiantian Pavilion. Let's go, he said softly. When he said this, fiery wings appeared behind him. The most powerful divine birds of the demon realms flew around him and landed on the stairs to the Xiantian Pavilion. Jun looked up at Qin He, brilliant light shining from him. You just fought a battle, he said. For us to attack you now would be kind of like taking advantage of your precarious situation. Why don't you give up and we'll come and take a look? Come up, said Qin He as she looked down at him. When she said this, she lowered her head and played her guqin. The music of Brahma's pure sky rang out once again. Everyone watched the beautiful figure playing all alone and felt a deep sense of loneliness. Pardon the intrusion, said Jun. He spread out his wings, and they covered the sky in an instant. Divine fire burst out, and it pierced through the sky like beams of sunlight shooting up the stairs. When the phantoms appeared, they were burned up by the fire until there was nothing left of them. Powerful auras also burst out from the other divine birds. The figure of a huge demonic beast appeared, blotting out the sun as it flew upwards. This time there was no matrix, but the demons of the Sky Demon Court were number one in the demon realms. And if you did not include the Divine Palace in the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty's power, then the Sky Demon Court was the most powerful force in the Heavenly Mandate realm. Of course, that was only if the various families of the Sky Demon Court were united. After all, at that moment, the Kunpeng clan wanted to be independent. And the Phoenix clan and the Golden Winged Giant Pengbird clan were also very proud families. This was another fierce battle. Jun and the other demons of the Sky Demon Court fought violently, but at the same time, they came under a lot of pressure. Many of the cultivators of Brahma's pure sky were wounded and forced to flee the matrix, but some of the demons of the Sky Demon Court were wounded as well. In the end, the Sky Demon Court broke through the Xiantian Matrix's defenses, but they did not make the Matrix collapse like the Heavenly Mandate dynasty had done. This time, Qin He was not as persistent as before. Perhaps it was because of lingering wounds from the last battle, and the fact that many of the members of the Matrix had been forced to sit out of the fighting. This time they were not as strong. Thus, the cultivators of the Sky Demon Court also went up to the Xiantian Pavilion. They also stood at the edge, standing next to the cultivators of the Heavenly Mandate realm. Yin Tianyu and Jun looked at each other. They had fought in the Violet Heavenly Palace before, but at that time, they had just been testing each other, and so had not used all of their power. Afterward, the battle between Yin Tianyu and Gu Donglu had been a real fight. But Yin Tianyu and Jun were eminent talents of the human cultivating world and the demon cultivating world. As they stood there, It seemed like invisible fighting will was spreading throughout the Futian pavilion. After the Sky Demon Court, the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven were the last ones left to try. But after 2 battles, there would be a lot less pressure on them. After all, the power of the Futian matrix had clearly lessened already. Previously, when they were at full strength, even top forces like the Sky Demon Court would have had a hard time attacking them. Everyone was watching the people from the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven. There had been a lot of rumors about Futian and Qin He spreading throughout the Heavenly Mandate realm. Was he not planning on doing anything? Jiang Taichu and Hua Qingyun looked at Futian as well. It seemed like he, who was not even a disciple of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven, had become the core member of their group. Of course, this did not mean that the people of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven would place Futian above Jiang Taichu and Hua Qingyun. It was just that this whole affair was about Qin He and her choice of a cultivation partner. Neither Jiang Taichu nor Hua Qingyun wanted to become her partner. Futian was undoubtedly the best choice. When he felt all those eyes on him, Futian stepped forward. The rest of the people from the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven followed quickly. They all walked towards the stairs to the Futian pavilion. When they reached the bottom of the stairs, Qin He looked down at them, her beautiful eyes seeming to pierce through Futian even across the vast distance. She had a conflicted expression on her face. She did not know what to feel. She placed her fingers on the strings and got ready to play the guqin. Futian was very sensitive, and so he could feel Qin He's gaze upon him. He could not quite tell what emotions she was displaying in her gaze. Besides Qin He, Tianyu and the cultivators of the Sky Demon Court were also watching him. "Is this the one who broke through the divine sounds?" whispered Yen Sui from beside Tianyu. It seemed like he was very interested in Futian. Gu Donglu, who had fought with Tianyu in the past, was not here today. So they naturally would only focus on the cultivator who had broken through their divine sounds. All was quiet as Futian looked back at Qin He. "The Futian matrix is already weakened," he said. "A fight would not be fair. Why don't we try another method?" "Please come up, Lord Yi," said Qin He as she looked down at him. Her fingers moved over the strings of her guqin. Amidst the melodious music, Futian looked up at her and said, "Pardon the intrusion." Upon saying this, he sat down. A look of surprise came over the faces of the cultivators of the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven all around him as he did this. He had been so polite when he spoke to Qin He, but he had not said how he would fight. Jiang Taichu and Hua Qingyun had let Futian take the lead in this battle. Why had he not said anything to them? His every movement was elegant and graceful. "What a master," said many people with praise. At that moment, a guqin appeared in front of him. A look of surprise came over everyone's face. A guqin? Qin He was playing a guqin on the steps to Futian Pavilion, and now Futian dared to pull one out as well? Most of the people there did not understand. Boom! Brilliant celestial light flashed from Futian as he activated the methods of the deed of thought comprehension and the mystical ways of celestial soul attraction. In an instant, the will of the great path was flowing wildly, and a celestial soul slowly materialized behind him. At the same time, Futian's fingers fell upon the guqin. For a moment, his music brought people to the infinite realm of ethereal space. It was like everyone had entered a whole new, marvelous world. The way of music. Everyone's hearts trembled. Futian was also skilled at rhythmic sorcery. "Let your saintly will flow into the music. Do not resist," said Futian. The people from the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven looked surprised. Could it be that simple? Yi Wuchen, Qi Shengang, and the others were the first to do so. The powerful will suddenly bloomed out, flowing along with the music and controlled by Futian's rhythmic sorcery. Jiang Taichu and Hua Qingyun did so as well, and soon, all the other people from the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven released their powerful saintly wills one after another, making them resonate with the music. Soon the amount of will contained within the music seemed to explode. Futian started to float upward into the sky slowly. All the other cultivators followed him. The storm of guqin music gradually grew fiercer. It raged between heaven and earth as the celestial soul grew larger. It was like a real celestial coming down to earth. What was more frightening was the immense piercing power that the Guqin music had. When the music covered the stairs, all the cultivators within the Xiantian matrix suddenly felt a strong sense of unease. Qin was also surprised by Yi Futian's skill with the Guqin. She suddenly felt that something was not right, and her expression changed. Her hands moved quickly as she watched Yi Futian down below her. Yi Futian, who was floating in the air, looked back at her. The celestial soul behind him was shining with terrifying celestial light. At that moment, the cultivators in the Xiantian matrix could feel their souls trembling. Yi Futian pointed with his right hand and then placed his fingers on the Guqin. Ding! The Guqin music pierced through their souls and destroying countless phantoms within the Xiantian matrix. A loud moan rang out at the same time as all the goddesses went pale and were sent flying backward. However, they had not been subjected to a direct attack. The Xiantian matrix collapsed in an instant. Only some of the extremely strong goddesses managed to remain in place, but they could no longer form the matrix. Everyone was staring at the brilliant celestial light coming from the celestial soul. It seemed to merge with the great path itself. What happened? They did not understand what they were seeing. Had Yi Futian just integrated rhythmic sorcery into the mystical ways of celestial soul attraction? Had he just broken the matrix in an instant? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.